Hi guys, Luke here, and I've got my hands on the new iPhone 14 and 14 Pro Max, and I will be unboxing them for you today and giving my initial impressions. So the Pro box, as you can see, is currently empty, and the reason is that this unboxing today is being shot on the 14 Pro, so let me know what you think of the video quality. But let's begin by opening the 14 Pro Max. Pull one tab, two tab, and slide, and straight away I can see that this is darker than last year's 13 Pro Max. It looks really nice. I prefer the darker colour to the lighter colour of the 13 Pro Max. I've got the 13 Pro Max just here, so let me just take the case off of it, and you can see how different the colour is. It might look the same using the iPhone to record, but in person it is quite a bit darker, and the sides are a bit shinier. Still going to be a fingerprint magnet like the last phone, as you can see. One thing that is notable straight away is the difference in the size of the camera lenses as well. As you can see, matte black finish on the back. This year they seem to have shiny black rails. They're not picking up too great on camera. Yeah, it looks nice, it feels nice. It feels pretty much the same weight wise. Let's take this tab off. Put that there and power the phone on. Okay, Apple logo. Once that's booting up, you can have a closer look at those camera modules. Very nice. You can see there's your first look at Dynamic Island. So let's go through this setup. So while I was setting it up, I swapped my 14 Pro out for my 13 Pro Max. So it's now recording on 13 Pro Max. So now you can see the 14 Pro and Pro Max side by side. Let me know what you think of the size difference. I've always used the Pro Max variants of the phones, and this is the first year I've picked up a regular Pro. I've been using this one for the last 2 days, so I'll give you my thoughts in a couple of weeks' time once I've had a proper amount of time to test the device. But so far, just for an insight, I'm really enjoying the smaller size, and any further details on it I will give you in my review. But yeah, it's a good start so far. So if I start off by showing you the new lock screens, so as you can see, I can touch and hold. Let's put my password in, and it brings up this new lock screen to iOS 16. You can choose several ones, and you can add different customization in terms of I-click customize. You can change the top one, so there you got a choice of things like calendar, weather, your calories, fitness for the day, events, alarms, reminders, stocks, weather. So there's quite a few things to choose from. Time, so on the time you only get to choose from different fonts and different colours, and whichever colour you choose you can make it stronger or lighter. If I go for yellow, and then you get to add some more widgets here, so things like your batteries. So that would be my 13 Pro's battery, and if I go for weather, there we go. This is pretty cool, so we don't usually get to do this on iPhones. We've never had a display that we could customize on the lock screen, so this is quite nice. So if I press done, and then it will ask me if I want to do it just on the lock screen or on my home screen as well. So I'll press both, and as you can see, that's my lock screen now. The other new feature you can see, Now the phone's turned off, but my always on display is showing. So I just tap the middle, you can see the screen lights up to full brightness, and if I just leave it for a few seconds, you'll see the new always on display pop in. So the animation there is really nice. So let's just see that again. There you go. So that's the new iPhone 14 Pro Max, always on display. I quite like it. I mean, the yellow text is quite bright. I wish I could dial it down a bit. We'll have to see how we go along with it. A new feature in iOS 16, if you go to Sounds and Haptics and scroll down to Keyboard Feedback, we now have the option, after all these years, of haptic feedback on the keyboard. So this is something that's always really been on Android, has never been on iPhone. So all it means is when you're typing, you now get a vibration. Obviously, I can't really show you through the camera, but it's vibrating as I type. Just a nice touch, something that was quite overdue really, and it's a simple feature. Yeah, so the other new feature to iOS 16 is the photo background removal. So I can open my gallery and find something where there's something in the foreground, quite obvious, like the two pictures of the boxes for the phones. The touch and hold them, you see that animation that came then. It brings up the option to withdraw the background from these items, so I can either copy it or share it. So if I press copy, okay, and we're going to notes, open a new note and paste, and it's asking me, this is another new feature by the way, it's asking me if I would like Photo to have access to my clipboard. So yeah, I press allow. As you can see, it's just pasted the phones in themselves, and it's cut them out pretty well. There's a slight white edging around here, but overall, I mean, it looks pretty good really. But that could be really useful if you want to pull pictures out for items in the foreground. So the other big upgrade this year is the new 48 megapixel camera. So I've not had a big chance to test this yet. I've taken some pictures on the 14 Pro over the last few days. Initial thoughts are the pictures look quite nice, but I'll save my opinions for the review coming up next week. It's nice that iPhone have finally seen a megapixel bump after having 12 megapixel for the last 4 or 5 years. Some more new features have been added to the camera. So if I open this, as you can see, we've got the regular mode, so that's a normal photo mode. We have the ultra wide, but we now have a new 2x option, and there's no 2x lens on the back. It's just using the middle 12 megapixel part of the sensor to crop in. So it's saying you get a lossless zoom. We'll have to test that in the full review. And then there's a 3x zoom as well. So you get one more option this year, which is 2x. So that's nice to have, and that option is also available on portrait, which it defaults to when you open the app. So you've got, for portrait mode, you've got 2x, 1x and 3x. So that's cool. Standard pano. For video, there's a new feature. So if you look in this top corner here, we have this action button. So if I select that, as you can see now it's in action mode, so I can't show you here, but I have taken some videos and it does work really well, and I'll show you in the review, but stay tuned for it because it's quite cool how stable it is and how good the clarity is compared to some of the Android phones I've tested, where at the expense of having stable video, the quality of the video actually isn't very good. So moving on from here, we have cinematic mode, same as the iPhone 13 series, but this year we, as you can see, it's in HD. We get a bump up to 4K, so you can now do 4K 30, 4K 24. Just to touch on 24 frames per second, that is a new mode added to the iPhone this year. So usually we have 30 and 60. But as you can see, Apple said they are adding a more cinematic approach, and that can be used in 24 frames per second. So yeah, filming that if you like, but I won't be using it. I prefer 30 frames per second. Okay, so that's my initial overview of the iPhone 14 Pro series and unboxing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and remember to tune in for the full review dropping next week. Yeah, take care.